Happy Jacks RPG podcast, a roundtable discussion that's a mix of friendship, humor, unbridled enthusiasm, and tabletop RPG topics sent in from around the world. Just for another Hello, and welcome to Season 35, Episode 15 of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. My name is Kimmy.
I'm Dustin.
And I'm Vixie.
All right. Perfect.
Yay!
Good job. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Dustin's amazing store, which is here in Southern California. For the first time, we actually have a retailer on the panel. Very cool. Talking about all things retail, things they have coming up at the store, and how it all goes. We're also reading an email from Mike in New York. He's going to share his gaming origin story. Mike is a frequent contributor to the podcast, sending in amazing emails, being on the Discord, all that stuff. So I am very excited to find out how he got into tabletop RPGs. And then from the archive in 2019, Will from Wisconsin tells the tale of a PC who is just too good for their game. So tell us your favorite retail story. Honestly, if you've played a game at a retail store, if you found a game at a retail store, tell us your happy success story that had to do with a retailer in honor of Dustin being with us today. So send it in. You can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. Or if you are in Discord, you can join our Discord. That's happyjacks.org/Discord. We'll get you there, and you can drop your would-be emails, contributions, topic, questions, success stories, horror stories into the mailbag channel there. So, yeah. So that's happyjacks.org/Discord. Announcements. Game Days is going to be May 24th. It's fun, safe, and free. The last one had about 9 different games that all played on the Saturday, which was fantastic. You all did great. And you can sign up to run or play at our Discord. Again, happyjacks.org/Discord. There are safety tools that are in place for all games. It's a requirement. And there's just a really great, awesome play culture there. All different styles of games, story games. People play test games. People play really, really old games that aren't in print anymore. So definitely check that out. It's a great, great time every time. And then GameX is coming up Memorial Day weekend. That's one of the strategic cons that we always go to. I think that's May 23rd through 26th, but check out when Memorial Day weekend is. Don't take my word for it. And that's going to be at the LAX Hilton. And we'll be doing our live show there Saturday night. And Dustin actually will have a booth.
I will be there.
Yeah, you can buy stuff, including Decima. He usually brings Decima. Right, excellent. Our Indie Designer of the Month. It is a new month, friends. It is May. It's May. It's May. All right.
Is it bad that I was like, it's gonna be May?
My elderly, theater kid self went, Camelot, you're fine. You're fine. I got your reference too. It's cool. Our indie designer for this month is Matthew Orr, and he's part of the team at Wet Ink Games. He's technically their creative director. He says he doesn't like to be called a designer, but I have sat and done a 10-minute game design challenge with him. He's definitely a game designer. Don't let him tell you differently. And you can find more information about Wet Ink Games at wetinkgames.com, and you can purchase their games on Indie Press Revolution or Drive-Thru RPG if you search for Wet Ink Games. Today's product we're talking about is one of my favorites. It's called Heckin' Good Doggos. Yes, pause for how amazing that title is. Heckin' Good Doggos is a family-friendly, all-ages role-playing game where the players take on the roles of humankind's best friends, the dog. It is a game of dogs doing dog stuff that focuses on all kinds of stories and adventures that dogs can get into, such as finding their favorite treats, barking at the squirrel in the tree, finding their human best friend who has gone missing. Oh, I printed on the back, sorry. Banishing an ancient spirit that threatens the neighborhood, scavenging for supplies in a futuristic wasteland, and so much more. That's so cool. I never thought about the futuristic wasteland.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like a Fallout, but from the dog's point of view. Yeah. From dog meat, yeah. Okay, Heckin' Good Doggos is a game of make-believe where players can experience the world from an animal's point of view. Some things will seem familiar, like protecting their backyard from potential threats and protecting their owners, while others are purely fantastic and whimsical situations they find themselves in, like helping a ghost resolve its business so it can leave this world. It is simultaneously serious and silly, with an emphasis on crafting scenarios that make players have a blast while also having to solve the many challenges they will experience in ways that only doggos can. You can get print copies for $20 on Indie Press Revolution, but PDFs are also available. And it is a very amazingly super cute game. I actually was having lunch with them like at Gamma Expo, like not this year, but last year, and talking to them about it. And it was just, they're good people that make good games, and you should support their stuff. And also, it's dogs. So
Dogs, yeah.
Just dogs. Doggo. It says doggos in the title, friends. Doggos in the title. Buy the game. All right, sorry.
We all want to be hecking good doggos now.
We all want to be hecking good doggos. Or maybe like a little naughty doggo. I feel like I would be a little bit of a naughty doggo. Like usually good, but like slightly mischievous.
I would just be the dog that gets into everything, like not necessarily looking for trouble, but somehow finds themselves in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. All right. So for our first kind of discussion of this episode, we're actually going to not do a mailbag. We're actually just going to talk about retail. We're going to talk about your store, Dustin. We're going to just delve into this. It's a very free-form discussion. I know I put some bullet points, but like we don't really go by bullet points. Welcome to this podcast. So why don't you tell us about your store?
Yeah, for sure. First off, thank you for having me on the show. This is really awesome. I love how you guys highlight designers of the month and games too.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Just like a little background. Dustin and I know each other because we work on the Horizons Fellowship together. Dustin was fantastic and helped us find mentors for all the retailer fellows. So he and I have to sit through a lot of very difficult, long committee meetings together, and we've become like very good friends. And we also see each other at StrategicCon all the time, so it's very fun.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, you do a lot of work with that, so I just help out a little bit. I've kind of been doing it for like 2 or 3 years, but I'm happy to help where I can. But I know the amount of work that you guys do is like nothing in comparison. So, yeah, I guess BG's Tabletop is a game store in Los Angeles. So we also do StrategicCon 3 times a year, so we get a chance to see Kimmy there. We love to carry a lot of indie RPGs. I think like kind of are one of the only stores on this side of the valley. If you're familiar with LA on the west side of the valley, there's a couple of stores on the east side that like Geeky Tees has a huge selection of just games in general.
Yeah.
But I love indie RPGs. I think it is a really cool space for game stores to kind of create too. But yeah, Los Angeles, we opened 3 years ago. Started as an online store. We opened our brick and mortar actually 3 years ago, maybe in 2 days.
Oh,
so we just hit our
Wow.
3-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Happy anniversary!
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about what BGE stands for? Because this is one of the reasons that I like at first really piqued my interest.
Yeah, BGE is Board Game with Education. So we started, it's a kind of long story. So my wife and I got married and we moved to Taiwan, and I wanted to start a business, and I originally started a English tutoring business. Learned that I wasn't super passionate about it, but I used a lot of games, tabletop games in my teaching, whether it's for like private tutoring or in the classroom. And we started a podcast all about games for learning. So the podcast was Board Game with Education. And then when we moved back to the States, we wanted to run an events-based business kind of based on the podcast with like summer camps and after-school programs. But we all know the pandemic hit. So it kind of shifted our focus into an online store where if anybody purchased a game through our store, they would receive complimentary learning resources like lesson plans and at-home like worksheets or handouts. Learned with that was a very niche market and not something that it would take a lot of long-term investment in getting people to understand what that's all about. So then we shifted to like a hobby game store model, which is a business model that already exists and is easier to replicate, but bringing that BGE with us where we really have a focus on like the positive impacts of tabletop games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I actually like became aware of you, and I think I even like emailed with you some a while ago, like before you actually started the brick and mortar store, like when you were still just doing kind of the podcast. So it's funny that all this time we like reconnect years later.
Yeah.
They're doing this thing.
It's
Yeah, but that's right. I love that piece of it because you do like there's a lot of hobby stores that have like open play nights and stuff like that, but you do like summer camps. Do you want to talk about like a little bit more like I've had friends who like were professional GMs. I have had friends who were hired to do like after school programs, but like it's like a whole nother thing to have like a full on like summer camp thing. You're very brave.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I love to do it because I get to do all this stuff with teaching that is good without the stuff that as teachers we don't like to do, like the
Like what?
grade,
Like
like
what would that
like
be,
grading,
Dustin?
maybe behavioral issues, and chatting with
What?
parents. Like all of our conversations with the parents are always positive. Like as a teacher, you kind of have to have some of those tougher conversations, but it's rare that we really have to have that conversation with kids because they're
Yeah.
they want to come play Dungeons and Dragons, they want
Yeah.
to come play Pokemon. So yeah, and I get to see like, oh, I love telling this story because it's one of our staff, it's their younger brother, and he started playing at our store around 12 or 13, and now he's like 15,
Oh, wow.
almost 16, and he's
Oh,
asking for
wow.
a job now, and like it's really cool to see him like grow up and kind of grow into a human at our store.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an amazing process to see them kind of like grow and like discover who they are. Like kids are definitely humans, but like they become their own humans, and that's really fun to see.
Yeah.
So, okay, I know this is a loaded question. What is more popular, the Pokemon or the Dungeons and Dragons camp?
The D&D camp actually.
Really?
Yeah. Our Pokemon's probably the up until like 3-4 months ago, the last year and a half was kind of slower for Pokemon, and so like Magic maybe was our bigger title and Lorcana at some point, but I don't know, like D&D really took off when we opened because we opened around the time of the last Stranger Things season, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of kids were like into D&D with that. There's still kind of a trickle of other pop culture things that get younger kids into D&D, but it's not as much as that was at one point. I'm hoping the next season has a lot of D&D references and and it comes back up and we get another resurgence. But yeah, D&D camp, we probably do like 60 to 70% of our programming is D&D, and then the rest is like TCGs, board games, and Pokemon.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
So like what is your personal favorite? Like honestly, I'm blown away. I would have bet like based on the number of Pokemon cards I have to confiscate
Yeah, that's
every
cool.
week at school, like Pokemon was gonna be what I thought was gonna be more popular. So I am heartened, and as a tabletop RPG fan, I love the fact that kids are that interested in it and like signing up for it. That's fantastic. What is your favorite types of games to play? You do not have to
Oh,
say
man.
tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do it. We'll finish off this podcast. That's fine.
So I got into the hobby through board games, but unfortunately I don't get to play a lot of board games anymore. Or maybe I just don't prioritize playing board games because it kind of still feels like work. But like I guess my tabletop game that I'm really into now is poker. So I've been playing a lot of poker recently because it kind of is a separation from that world of
Yeah.
like the job and games and
Mhm.
stuff. But I one RPG that I really like is Mothership. I don't know if you're familiar with Mothership.
Yeah.
It's sci-fi horror. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's one I really like. And then board games. I've really liked a couple newer TCGs. One called Altered. It's kind of unique where a lot of TCGs you're fighting against someone or you're trying to
Mhm.
score points. This one you have a companion and a hero. And to win the game, you send them on a journey to meet each other, and whoever meets their companion and hero first wins. So I
Oh.
really like the kind of unique aspect of that game.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say like really a lot of the gaming I do is poker, video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard because like I run into that a bunch of times when you make your hobby like a job.
Yeah.
And it's like suddenly you're like, oh, okay, I really love doing this thing, so I want to do it all the time, but then you're doing it all the time. And every time you start doing
Yes.
it just for fun, you feel like you should be trying to monetize it or working on the monetize aspect in some way. Yeah, that's changed my relationship a lot with RPGs as I've become a publisher. Keeping like everyone always says like, oh, you should have made Happy Jacks like make more money. You could have made a living at it. And every single time I sit down in this chair in the studio, I'm always very glad I didn't ever do that. Like it's just like I love this being like a friend hangout vibe fun thing that I can help indie publishers with, and that
Mhm.
like makes all my friends come to my house and play games with me on a set schedule.
Yes.
That's how you keep the group together.
That's exactly how it is. Yeah, exactly.
Start a
And they show
podcast.
up more often too. They're like, oh, people are going to be watching.
Oh God.
Yeah, they block it out on their calendar for streaming it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I've always fought with that too. Like how much of your hobbies do you make into actual businesses? So, um, so you have another event that you're adding. You've done these summer camps and stuff like that. You do your full-time store retail, and then you're adding another thing to your plate. What is it that you're adding, Dustin?
Yeah, I don't know. This is maybe a bit off more than what you can chew, but I'm super excited. We're doing a convention in Los Angeles. We partnered with two other game stores, Fire and Dice and Game and Grounds here in LA, and we're gonna host LFG Con in the Burbank Marriott. Yeah.
I'm always excited when there's a new con that's 10 minutes from my house.
Oh yeah, it's really close
California.
to here. It's just
Yes.
right up there.
It's like boop, 10 minutes to the airport. So it's really going to be like 7 minutes to the con. It'll be great.
Yeah. Wow.
I would love to know the teleport spell just so I can go.
Yeah.
Right.
So what made you like want to jump into that world? Like, what are, I know like the goals of a con are to get people to come together and like kind of celebrate like things, but what's your specific vision with LFG?
Yeah. So originally the idea came to me when I went to PAX Unplugged, and I was there for the weekend. And when I go to conventions, I love to like travel around the city as well as like check out the local game stores. And go into a couple of the game stores, and I noticed the amount of extra business they did. And I'm like, oh, this would be really cool if we do like a convention near our store, and it helps us, grow our store and drive some traffic from other folks too. But it's kind of hard to do in LA because LA is so big.
Yeah.
So like even if you do a con kind of like, downtown or somewhere that's like hundreds, well, maybe not hundreds, like 40,000 people are traveling to. I don't know if like how much all the stores in LA would benefit from because it's just so big.
Yeah.
But that was originally the idea, but I reached out to George and Day and asked like, hey, maybe we can put one on in the Valley because all of our stores are in the Valley and it could help. And we did some research and we learned that like the best financially feasible spot for our budget was Burbank Marriott. And now like we really want to create like that regional con experience where oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of the name in Northern California, the con. It's something con. And
The
it's
Big Bad Con?
based off
Are you talking
of
about Comic-Con?
not Comic-Con. It's
Okay.
it's a
Emerald
tabletop
City.
gaming con.
Oh no, that's not Northern California. That's in Seattle.
Oh my gosh, KublaCon.
KublaCon, okay.
Yeah, KublaCon.
KublaCon, okay.
We're gonna
Yeah,
list like
yeah.
between the three of us, we're gonna list every other
Yeah,
con
Yes.
that ever
something
existed.
we'll
Just
get
every
it.
single convention.
Yeah. So like you hear a lot of people from Southern California travel up to that, from nearby states go to that. So we really want to replicate something similar where people are willing to travel, and it's kind of the Southern California regional convention that people really look forward to every year. And so I think this year like it's going to be a lot of LA folks, a lot of people that are guests in our stores already. We do have one which I'm super excited for, that they agreed to come out, Fan Bam Games. They were
Oh, yay.
Horizons fellow, and they're coming from, oh man, I can't remember, somewhere on the East Coast. I want to say Pennsylvania,
I don't remember.
maybe New York. Yeah, but so I think like most our exhibitors, vendors, and guests are LA based, and that's also one thing we have going for us is like there's so many industry folks, there's so many like live play casts and things happening in LA. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely kind of where a lot of people are. We're here.
Yeah.
I think it's good too because I agree. Like LA is so big. It's let's say on their website right away. I'm looking and it's not like we are here, but yeah, Bam Bam Games. But yeah, LA is so big, and the thing is, it's so spread out because even if you go to other cities, if they have a big event, it's kind of ripples through the whole city. Even if it's like 10,000 people showing up in most cities is something noticeable.
right.
But yeah, especially with like the multiple airports, which is why I really like where you've picked also that it's other than it's 10 minutes from my house, but that's right by the Burbank Airport,
yeah.
which makes it really, really helpful. And I honestly like other conventions where I know people who will not be named in this segment of the show because we're talking about your convention. Like I like have pitched it hard to them. Like they were looking for other site like a few years ago. I was like, hey, guess what? You could go, and they did not pick. They did not go with my decision. But, but they were like, give me. We're not moving the convention to close to your house just because. That is not why. It is a fantastic location and also by an airport, but also 10 minutes from my house. Yeah, that's so cool. And I love that. I mean, it's very normal for like first year events to have mostly local people. I think it's really smart to start that way. I feel like we've all heard like, I mean, I feel like Firefest is probably not a direct comparison, but like people who've made these massive events for the first year and like beyond the scope of what they're able to do and invited people from all over, and it's like make it manageable, figure out exactly how the system's going to work, figure out exactly what the vision you wanted versus what happens, and then like grow it out from there. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah, and like I think it's really awesome. George and Day are great too, that all three of us kind of have a different type of skill set that we're bringing. So I feel like it's a big undertaking, but it feels really good where we're at because of I guess the work we've kind of put in our own perspectives to the con. But yeah, it's a little scary because it's still not here yet, and we will be happy when we pull it off and things go well for the most part. Because of course there's going to be some hiccups and some things that we have to figure out. But
yeah, I think.
What would you say? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
what would you say has been your greatest challenge in organizing this convention?
Oh man.
As a first time, like, as since it's your first time organizing this.
I think the biggest challenge, well, I guess I don't know if it is still a challenge, and I guess it has been a challenge, and we'll see if it is something where a lot of conventions struggle because of hotel room commitments, and that's one thing that we're struggling with right now. Again, it goes back to the thing. It's like a first time con. It's hard to get people to come outside of the LA area. So like that's been the biggest challenge, I think, in both like figuring out how to solve that problem and also financially it'll be the biggest cost to the con.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, that's the one that pops in my head. There's been a lot of other stuff. Just like right now we're kind of coming into the challenge of like processes for things. We were talking in a Discord, I think read about the safety tools. So like, of course we're going to have safety tools at the convention, but how do we implement and execute that? And just figuring out the process for that. It's not like the most difficult thing to do, but that along with all these other little processes that we just have to nail down and figure out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's so important the first year because you're like setting up the culture of the convention. And
For sure.
if you have a bunch of local people coming and like having tables of people playing games, like it's always, there's so many variables with people at the table, but there's such a chance like you would just want to make sure that the con does as much as possible to make people feel safe and have a good experience, even if the people at the table make mistakes or maybe don't have the best of intentions, like doing the best you can to make it like work out for everyone.
Right. And it's, I think like, I see that challenge in our store, right? We always have to create a culture in the store, and if there's some interactions with guests at the table, like it's a little easier for me at my store because I'm very like hyper aware of everything going on. Even if I'm not there, I kind of become aware of stuff. The con, there's gonna be loads of things like that us as con runners aren't super aware of because we've put people in charge, and we got to make sure that culture is still like translated across the whole convention.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Keeping things consistent and all of that good stuff.
So what are you particularly in charge of? You said you all have different skill sets. So what's your skill set that you're bringing?
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of doing the panels, and it's interesting because we do have like our thing that we're in charge of, but it's all a team decision, which has been interesting. We've never really butt heads yet.
That's good.
But yeah, and doing the panels, helping with the exhibitors, media, and then a lot of the content and marketing. So things like that. think that's
Is there?
mainly.
Oh my gosh. Is there something that you're super excited about? Like, is there something about the convention that you've brought in that you're just like super excited to see happen at the convention?
I'm excited for our like panels and live presentations. We have Grant, Grant.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
Yeah.
doing a board game stand-up
Yay!
show. He was super awesome, and he did that for our opening at the store too. So I don't know if he's made some updates, so I don't know if I'll get a chance to even watch, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And just all of our like kind of our live presentations and stuff. We're also gonna try to run a day camp with partnering with another organization called Game Masters for Hire that does D&D summer camps on the other side of the valley. So I'm excited to partner with someone so we can also, like, if a kid comes to the con and participates in our day camp, maybe they're too far from our store, but they can enroll in their summer camp there. So that whole getting new generation of gamers involved in the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's our friend Grant Lyon. He's not a tabletop RPG influencer, but he's a big like board game influencer, and he's very patient when I talk to him a lot about RPGs. He's like, "That is a nice thing. I am happy for you, Kimmy," and I'm like, "Thanks. I like your pickle game. It's cool." Yeah, it's very funny. Grant and I we get along super well. We're very similar people, and that very outgoing, like online, like perpetually, and like it's almost like watching people speak two different languages when we talk about games. Because I don't really play board games other than like RPGs that require board elements, and then he doesn't really play RPGs at all. So we're both like, dice are cool, yeah. It's very funny. But yeah, no, that's awesome. That's so cool that he's gonna help out with that. And yeah, I have to talk to you about our stuff. We're supposed to help too, but I'm so bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I do also appreciate that you did it in the summer after the school year's over.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough challenge actually. That
Yeah.
took us like 2 or 3 months to figure out the date. It's
Yeah.
like, when do we do it? Summer, Halloween, and like around Thanksgiving time were the 3 dates that we were trying to figure out. But the summer made sense because, yeah, teachers can participate.
Yeah.
Kids can join too. So
Yeah, no, that's very cool.
They're off from school and stuff, so school's out. Period. So
Yes. Very cool. Awesome. Let's pivot back to your store for a minute. So I'm gonna do like a quick fire random question.
Okay.
See how you do. What RPG do you sell the most of in your store?
If we include like all the D&D books, it would be D&D.
Okay.
If we don't include
Don't include
D&D,
D&D. I don't
let
think
me
that's it.
see. I think Mothership, just
Really?
because it's my like it's easy to sell what you like, right? And then maybe Vaesen was pretty popular at one point because we had someone running a regular Vaesen game. Call of Cthulhu a little bit. The Quiet Year was huge for us like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was is it called Wonder Home?
Wonder
right?
Home, yeah.
Wander Home, yes.
That was
what a
pretty
good
big
game.
for us for a bit. Raccoon Sky Pirates.
Yeah.
Yes! We love Raccoon Sky Pirates.
Big fans of Chris.
And
Yes.
I mean, we sold a few Dakumas. That's probably up there too.
Who was Dakuma by?
No.
Some gold Annie Award. Sorry, I have to do it. Kimmy's like, no, stop.
We do that. They're
anyway.
annoying about it.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps because the Dakuma, like, I wasn't aware of it until we call him the tabletop RPG sommelier, Jameson GM Mace. I'm not sure if anyone. Yeah, he told me about it. So like, it really helps when we have someone as like a, what do you want to call it? Like someone who really pushes or supports a game, and we run games, and then that usually is what kind of picks up for what we sell through the most. And then on the other end, we are also an online store, so we run a few ads online, and if a popular game is just popular across the internet, then we sell it too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. What age group do you think you sell RPGs to the most?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like you have a different answer than most games because you have like your summer camp. So I was kind of curious.
Yeah, probably my age though, like
Yeah, okay.
late 20s to early 40s. Yeah.
I like how you like.
Yeah.
That's
You're
what
like,
it is.
oh.
Don't know how
I
old
guess
she
my
is.
age
I'm gonna
now.
stretch this age grade group. Very nice.
It's
Thank
fine.
you. It's fine.
I have a question,
Okay.
Kimmy. Just because I want to know because I'm very curious. You said that D&D it sells best in your store. Which adventure module sells best? Or is it like the
Um,
player's handbook or the DMG?
I would say at one point it was anything dragon related
Mhm.
because going back to that like age group thing, a lot of the kids just love dragons, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we'll get a kid and they'll come in and they'll get any book that's D&D and has dragons with it.
Gotcha.
So there was one that was pretty popular dragon module, Dragonlance maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
Uh,
Tiamat one. Is that the one?
Oh,
Tiamat
maybe.
one.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
where
yeah,
Tiamat's
the
the
Tiamat,
BG.
yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
funny.
yeah.
I think those are like older. Dragonology, the greatest book ever made. Rose says in the chat.
Okay, well, I own that book, so I know it's the greatest book
Yeah.
ever made.
Listen, you're
Anyway,
young
sorry.
whippersnappers. When I was young, we read these books about the dragon riders of Pern. Okay. All right. Awesome.
I also read that book.
What other than like books, what accessory do you sell like the most like we'll say money, like, because I know you probably sell a shit ton of dice,
Yeah.
but like
I was gonna say.
monetary value. So like if like a DM's create and like costs more than dice, like what thing do you make the most money off?
The challenge is that we sell some pretty expensive dice too.
Okay. Okay, well then.
But beyond dice, I was gonna say something else, but it's also dice. It's like dragon eggs, but it's soap and it has dice inside. We sold a lot of those at one
That's
point.
cool.
Um,
I feel like that's different than like
Yeah,
there's a
well-
dice component, but that's like a gifting item.
yeah, earrings. We sell
Okay.
quite a bit of earrings.
That's cool.
Earrings. Wait. You sell jewelry?
Yeah, like D&D earrings or like mimic earrings.
As someone who
Nice.
likes shiny things, I approve this message.
Yeah, Vixie's suddenly very interested.
Suddenly, I'm flying out to for the con. I was
Yeah.
like, I need to
Get some
go see the
earrings.
jewelry specifically.
Yes. Awesome. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about or say?
No, I appreciate you having me on. The store is doing well, and I'm excited for the con, and excited for Strategic Con coming up as well. So
Yeah, it's always exciting, and it's great. I feel more and more like like LA had such an amazing gaming community, and then it felt like it kind of came apart during COVID, and like
Mhm.
even people like I'd been like in touch with for years, like kind of like so many people had to move or change jobs or whatever. Like it just was so different, and it's so nice now to feel like those pieces are kind of getting knit back together. So it's like, I don't know, players and conventions and different stores, and I don't know, it's just a nice feel. So I'm glad you're part of our knitting together of the LA gaming
Yeah.
community. It's cool. All right. So someone told me on this podcast we read emails. So we should do that.
Oh, right. There's
Right,
that.
there's that. All right. Who wants to read the first one?
Oh,
You do not have to read out loud if you don't want to, Dustin.
I don't mind.
Okay. Let's see. Why don't you read the first one, Vixie, and then
Sure.
and then Dustin and I can share the last one.
Yeah, I was gonna volunteer, but I wasn't sure.
I'm gonna call on you.
Oh,
You made eye
okay,
contact
great.
with me as a teacher, so I called on you.
Oh no, I was okay. I've been chosen. Okay, so this what it's the one. Okay, yes.
This
Sorry,
mailbag
I was
too.
Thank you. I was like, it's mailbag too, right? Okay. Hello, Happy Jacks. I'm also going to share my story of how I got into this hobby. Back in the summer of 1981, I was very interested in computers, even though my family didn't really have the money to buy one. Instead, my mom signed me up for a summer computer programming course for middle school aged kids over at the local community college. So every Saturday, my mom dropped me off at the community college's computer lab, where I and a bunch of other kids learned the basic the Capital Basic and Pascal computer programming languages on a DEC PDP -11 mainframe. I have no idea what any of that means. Using
Half our listeners
VT.
are like desiccating right now as you say, as you describe trying to read these
I'm
things.
struggling. Using VT-100 terminals. At 12, I was one of the younger kids there. Anyway, towards the end of the course, we were given an assignment to write a computer game. The professor thought we'd write text-based versions of card games or other games that were mostly math and easy for a computer to calculate. I'm having flashbacks of a game called Parsley, which is a similar vibe. On one of the other kids who I'd become friendly with asked if he could write a combat simulator game. The prof didn't really know what he meant by that, but said sure. The next week, the other kid brought in a bunch of advanced Dungeons and Dragons books. His combat simulator game ran a one-on-one melee combat with a randomly selected monster. I'd heard about D&D, but didn't really know anything about it. I was fascinated by these books, and during our lunch break, I peppered him with questions about them. He then invited me to come over to his house and join his game. He said his older brother was the dungeon master, and then he told me about his character. A couple a couple weeks later, my mom dropped me off at his house, and I joined the game. I was 12, my friend was a couple of years older than me, and his brother had just graduated from high school. Also at the table were two of his brother's friends who were a year older than him. I was a 12-year-old and I was playing a game with guys who were like 19 or 20. They were nothing but super nice and very
Aw.
encouraging to me. I didn't know it at the time, but they were playing some kind of weird hybrid of the original 1974 edition, the 1979 Holmes Blue Box edition, some AD&D, and some Judges Guild stuff all mashed together. I honestly didn't understand any of the rules. I wouldn't either. But I hopped into the story and just rolled whatever dice they told me to when it was my turn. I don't remember much about the game, but I did remember loving it. I only ended up playing with those guys 2 or 3 times. My friend lived way over on the other side of town, too far to bike, so it was hard to get there. And despite them being nothing but kind to me, the age difference was weird, and I always felt uncomfortable playing with them. But that's where I got the RPG bug. At the end of the summer, I saved up enough money in the neighborhood mowing lawns, raking leaves, and washing cars to buy my own copy of the 1981 D&D basic set, the Tom Moldvay edition. Between that book and my short experience playing, I convinced a few of my friends who lived nearby to play, with me as the dungeon master. I ran them through the keep on the Borderlands, and we kept on playing. And 44 years later, I'm still playing.
Woo!
Thanks for letting me share my story. Mike
Awesome.
from New York State.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
That's so fun.
Fantastic.
I feel
Uh,
like, yeah, it's one of these things that like modern RP like D&D and RPGs have this weird trickle effect of people seeing other people play online.
yeah.
But it's interesting to think of like before
Mhm.
that, like before like definitely before 2010 and like definitely before like 2005 and before, like people only really found out about RPGs by seeing it because they went into a store or like having someone tell you about it. Like, oh, I'm going to play D&D this weekend. And they're like, what is D&D? And it's such an interesting thing to think that this hobby has lasted for over 44 years now by mostly word of mouth. It's like, I don't know if there's another industry that's quite like that. It's such a strange thing to think about. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very much feel like the first thing when you said that, as soon as you said that, I was like, it was like Fight Club. The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about, you know?
Yeah. Except you're supposed to tell everyone about your character.
Right, exactly.
It's like, I was like, oh, what's D&D? Oh, let me tell you about my character. Like,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, it's so funny. How many like you probably see this more than we get to, Dustin, because you how many of the kids who come to your camps have never played before and have kind of only heard about it?
Probably about half. I would say half have like played before, and half have really maybe played once or seen it on like through again like a pop culture thing or there was that one kid in particular. What's the cartoon D&D? I'm so bad. I should know the name.
Like the cartoon of D&D where they were all like you had the dungeon master
the
and like he's the
80s?
from the
Definitely-
80s with the red
No.
robe and the bald head.
Maybe it's the Critical Role.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 The cartoon
I-
one.
There-
You said
Right,
it in a
that-
very
Vox
parent way,
Machina.
like
Vox Machina, yeah. There you go.
yeah.
Okay.
You said it in a very parent way too. Like some people refer to it as the Pokemon. You're like the Critical Role.
That's what I say too. It's the Critical Role. Yes. Okay. Yeah. The
But
Vox
yes.
Machina cartoon
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
on Amazon. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then one kid wanted to play because of that.
Mhm.
Nice.
Another kid, what's again? I should know these references.
It's totally fine.
We'll help you. It's fine.
It's an older, or not older. It's been around for a while. It's on Cartoon Network, and one of the episodes they play D&D. Oh my goodness. I don't
Oh my
remember
god,
the name
is
of the
it
show.
Blue Cat? It's a blue cat. Is it a blue cat and like a little orange squid thing? Because
No,
they definitely played D&D and there was a whole thing about them
it could,
rolling a critical hit.
could be that one too, but the one I'm thinking of, it's like a kid and his he has like a grandpa, I think.
Oh.
Oh my god, is it? Oh my god, Gravity Falls.
Yes,
Is it Gravity Falls?
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
I could hear the theme song in my head and I was like, I know this
Yeah.
cartoon because they also play D&D.
Yeah, and they watched them play it on a show, and they were curious, and they came to learn to play.
That's so cool.
And then there's
I
others
love
that have been
that.
playing for a while, and they just like, I want to play more. And like we have a couple of kids I think enrolling in our summer camp who have been playing for a while, and I'm talking to their mom, and it's two brothers, and they just want to find an outlet to play.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's been a couple times where I have to, like, I'm in my like Diana Prince teacher mode, not gamer mode, trying not to let them know that I am a nerd, like I am. There's been a couple times where I've had students with like kind of like screen addiction, where they want to play games like all the time. Have you ever seen? And there've been times where I like recommend to parents, well, maybe you should look more into analog games, like board games, or maybe something like the Dungeons and Dragons. I hear is a thing.
It's something.
Smile. Don't know. Blink. Anything about this? Go to a store. Have you seen like it work the other way? Because I feel like I was one of the first generations of gamers that did like MMOs and games first, and then came to like tabletop RPGs. Do you see that often?
I would say I think it's more for adult players. It works that way. Where like the Baldur's Gate game.
Yeah.
Even Skyrim, and like again, Critical Role is doing. I think the recent episode was Skyrim or Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
It's Elder Scrolls. They just did an
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls thing.
Elder
Sorry,
Scrolls.
I'm laughing because in the chat, Rose RPG says, "Hey kids, want to buy some dice?" Says Kimmy from an alley. But yes,
I probably make more money doing that than teaching. Evidently, that's the thing that sells best at Dustin's store.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's selling
yes.
But yeah, I that's very cool, and I'm glad that there's pipelines getting kids into the hobby. So Riley, who's on the show a lot too, she works for programs that do like programs in schools. So she's been DMing a lot for a bunch of kids and stuff like that, and she just has like great stories about it. It's so fun. And yeah, I feel like there's like this I don't know, indoctrination is not a good word, but it seems like as a game publisher, I want people to want to play my games, and I feel like that's a market that RPGs haven't really aimed itself at. Like it kind of like benefited as like kids saw dragons and they wanted to play, but I feel like people are just now starting to experiment with games of the D&D nature or tabletop RPG nature designed for kids. And there's some really great ones out there, and I'd love to see like more of that, because there is this gap, because like 9 and up can, like some 9s and up can play D&D. I mean, they can, younger than that can play if they have a good DM who's like really like holding their hand, helping them through it. But I feel like there's this gap between like 7 and like 10 where like I feel like there's like an opportunity there to design some really cool games with a really cool market that isn't really being served by anything else in the RPG scene right now. So I don't know.
It
Yeah.
makes me think. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go
No,
ahead.
what I was saying, it makes me think of this one my last Strategicon that I went to, because that actually happened. I ran a game for a child and their parent or legal guardian. I don't know which one it was. So, and I never want to assume because it could be an uncle and aunt,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. But they actually ended up sitting down for my game of Honey Heist, and that
Oh,
was how
Yeah.
I
cool.
found out that Honey Heist is actually a really fun game to play with kids, and
Mhm.
it's actually teaches them math also because of the way the dice mechanics are. Like it teaches you like simple like balancing of like numbers. Like, oh, we got to keep this balanced all the time. And I was like, oh man, I never thought of it that way. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're right. Like that's my concurrence. Like, yeah, there are games that should more games like that should be designed where you can modify them for like kids.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And equations are just balanced. It's not
mhm,
Yeah.
a problem and an answer. It's equal parts on both sides of the equal sign.
exactly.
So
And if you
that's
put too much on one side, you become a bear.
I might not tell my kindergartners that. That might scare them. Or they would all be constantly trying to become bears. Like I'm not sure which.
That's the problem is that kids are chaos gremlins. So the moment you're like, you can't do that, oh, they're doing it.
Miss, it's not working. I'm not a bear. All right. Thank you for your story, Mike. That's wonderful.
Yes.
And we're very glad you found the hobby and eventually found our community too. It's super cool. All right. Mailbag number 3. This is from the archive. And each show we
Ooh.
pull an old email from days of yore. So this one is from 2019. Why don't you read the first half of it, Dustin, and I'll read the last half of it.
Alright. So I have Dear Jackers and Jackettes, longtime listener here that's only emailed once or twice, and maybe this counts as 3 times.
Yeah.
One of which I think beat out Jib's record at the time back in season 3 or 4. I'll keep it short this time. Let me tell you about my character. I was playing in D&D 5e game recently and made a half-orc sorcerer using the Stone Sorcerer subclass from the official playtest material Unearthed Arcana. The short description of this class is that it's a melee sorcerer with great AC, 10 plus dex plus con, and other defensive capabilities. I played him in a super impulsive, not very intelligent manner. In the second session we played, the party got trapped in a cave, and the only way forward was down a hole that would definitely cause fall damage. Since the others were spending 10 plus minutes trying to decide on how to get down the hole, I decided to just say screw it and just jump, casting a web spell on the way down. The rest of the party soon followed.
Excellent. Very good. I'm
Love that.
specifically delighted by this because my daughter is absolutely obsessed with the Spider-Man friend cartoons right now. Constantly. We had a 5-year-old birthday party recently that was all spider themed. I'm still finding those little like gooey web things that that you can like shoot places like everywhere in my house. Which, by the way, they leave like this oily residue on paint.
Oh,
Parents, FYI.
Ooh.
But yeah,
Oh no.
it's fine. She's happy. It's good. And nobody comes to my house anyway. So the only people who come and visit come to the studio, and we're web free in this actual cobwebs, but you know. All right. Anyway, back. He was also a beast in combat, as he could do as much damage, and be hardly as full on. Oh, and be as hardy as a full on fighter class. Excuse me. But could also cast powerful spells that could modify that I could modify with sorcery points. It was awesome. Unfortunately, it became clear that he might easily outshine the rest of the party in a big way once he leveled up a bit and got some additional overpowered class abilities. For example, being able to use his reaction to teleport to any ally in the same physical surface as him and take a hit for them. Wow. That's some min-maxing right there. Good job. I approached the GM and asked him to kill my character. I didn't want, yeah, right? That's like amazing awareness. Like I'm surprised at the awareness mostly. I didn't want to constantly fight the urge to use my spells and abilities to handle a challenge when someone else in the party might have built their character to handle exactly that kind of thing. It was an argument with me, or he was in agreement with me. And okay. I totally expected him to fight. Okay, we should read these emails before I put them on the thing. He was in agreement with me. I'm surprised. And surprised the rest of the party by having an NPC we had been escorting betray the party and literally stab me in the back after I'd already been hurt by a monster, killing me. It was an awesome death and a very memorable moment for the whole party. This brings me to my question. Have any of you realized a character might be too good and might outshine the rest of the party? And or have you asked your GM to kill one of your characters? I know Stu has this infamous doctor that just clashed too much personality-wise with the party's goals, but this question is more about characters that are beloved by all, but you feel should be killed for the betterment of the other players. Happy Jacking, drink Will from Wisconsin. First off, I want to, it takes an amazing player awareness to realize this about your character, because most people who min-max or build characters this well do it on purpose. Not necessarily in a malicious way, but they want to be the most badass they can possibly make them be. And for someone to do that on purpose, but not with that being their goal, and also being aware of wow, this might be bad for everyone's overall enjoyment. I feel like I'm gasping. It's amazing. I'm in Maxer. Who cares? Well done.
Yeah. I mean, have you considered retiring the character? They could have just gone to an island and read a book for the next 100 years. Also,
I
feel this is much better though.
Yeah, what a way to go! But also,
yeah, I like it. I mean, it's interesting because going back to kids, I think that's one. You see the journey of the D&D player or RPG player and the kids, and they go so fast through the journey. But I feel like the longest one is the mid-maxing one. Yeah. Where they're always trying to build the best, most powerful character. But it's really cool to see once they get past that, realizing it's more than just creating a character that plays the game well, but creating a character that's fun for the table.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of the level up of it. Yeah, that's amazing. I okay, so I'm gonna own this specifically, especially with D&D. No, I am not good at making D&D characters and min-maxing them. I am in fact terrible at this. Even if I'm trying, I just don't know all the tiny ins and outs and tiny little point things that can make the most amazing D&D character. So I've only played with characters that were too amazing for their own good. Vixie, are you better at building characters than I am?
I tend to. So I would say that when I build a character, I don't think about min-maxing either. I'm a silly little creature who's what would be interesting to play, and how does it play into the plot the DM has set up. In addition to that, I think probably I've made one character that's kind of powerful, but it was, again, the reason she's powerful is because of plot related reasons. And I always rely on my DM to tell me how far I can go. I use the DM becomes the arbiter of is this character too powerful? Should I scale it back? Should I choose another class that maybe won't make them, if they multi-class, won't make them an OP. So I rely on the DM a lot to tell me what is and isn't OP for that character. As a player, and as a I guess as a on the flip side, as a GM, if I have a min-maxer player, I have to ask them how is this justified by the plot? And it's got to be a good answer, because if it's not, I'm a narrative focused DM. If for me, min-maxing is for video games. We're here to tell a collaborative story, so let's tell a collaborative story that's interesting and fun for everyone. But I've never had anyone ask me to kill off their character before.
No. That's such a good story beat though.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if the player's into it, it's I don't know, it's very cool. I like that particular piece. I think it's much more interesting than them retiring or whatever.
Yeah.
I also think I mean,
if everybody had fun.
Yeah. And I think it's hard, and I have played with people who are just so good at making characters that you could tell there were moments where they were holding back, and they were trying to be that they are masters of the D&D math, but they also really want to tell a great collaborative story. So you have these moments where they're making bad tactical choices because they don't want to clearly overpower everyone else in the fight, or they use something an optimal move or something like that, spell or whatever it is. And I feel like that can make people even though they're being amazing players, that can lower the fun everyone at the table.
Mhm.
Because there's like that element of, I don't know, letting them win, letting you win. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you this hit, and you're like, okay. And I like that in a story beat where it's like, oh, this is your like mortal enemy. You've spent the last 20 sessions hunting them down. I'm not gonna take the killing blow. You take it. Like that's different. But when they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm gonna hit for 1 damage. Okay, and they're like choosing specifically like their least powerful move, and you're like, okay, just kill him. Like, okay, like I don't need your pity XP. Please just like do the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a conundrum too. My question with this would be like what you were saying, Vixie, about
Mhm.
the GM. Like usually, I mean, it's commonplace for GMs to kind of look over, or DMs to look over all the characters before you start playing.
Mm.
Mhm.
And my question is like, did the GM not realize? Like, it seems like the player maybe didn't even realize kind of how overpowered this character was. But like, did
Right.
the GM not look over the characters? Did they not notice how much more powered this character, or like how optimized this character was versus the other characters? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's while they did a great job of correcting that. I feel like that was something maybe that they missed in the starting process.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I it's hard for me to relate as a GM, but I can watch my GMs interact with kids and
Yeah.
how they've like min-maxed, and we have um one particular GM who is anti like 100% against min-maxing and will punish characters if he sees that happening in the game. So yeah, I think it's important that the GM looks it over, but it's I guess maybe it seems like they didn't really know that the character would become that optimal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've never really min-maxed a character either. I just kind of I think the highest level I played in D&D is like 3 as a character,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
5.
Oh
That's
wow.
that's okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems like this is definitely not like a malicious. Like it's. I mean, we've gotten
No.
so many stories over the years of like min maxers who do it just to like wreck, not to wreck the game, but to like wreck every monster they run into, and they take
Yeah.
like, and it's not just in D&D, like in everything. Like we've had
Mhm.
like GURPS and things like that. They take a million like hindrances and things wrong with them to get more points to put into fighting.
Mm.
So you look at this character sheet and it's like, okay, well, you can't talk, you can't hear, you can't taste. Like they take every little thing that gives them an extra point to spend. But like it just makes like no sense when you really look at this and you're like, what? It's just it baffles the mind. Like and it's not for like what you're saying, Vixie,
Mhm.
like RP reasons. Like okay,
Yeah.
but like there is literally like I think sense of smell. I think it is in GURPS. I don't remember. I think it's there's one that's like you lose your sense of taste and you
Mm.
get a extra point to spend in something, or sense of I think it's sense of smell in GURPS. And like inevitably, like I'd play with people who always took that, and you're just like come
Why?
on, like because they get like the extra point or 2 points or whatever it was
Yeah.
to to fight with stuff, and they're like, well, I don't need my sense of smell, and it's just like
So if the house
okay,
burns down,
yeah.
you're not gonna smell it.
Yeah, but then
But
they get upset at the GM that you're just doing that on purpose. Well, yes, you took that. You took
Yeah.
you got the extra points for that, so it needs to at some point come into
Mhm.
the thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, so frustrating.
Uh, but yeah, like when it comes to min-maxing, like I can respect the desire for it. Like for me, it always has to narratively make sense though. Like you want to make a min-maxer, that's fine. I'll balance the encounters for your min-max.
Hmm.
But you have to justify that to me narratively. Like why is your character min-maxed in the first place? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
But I don't do the whole punishing thing for min-maxing. It's just much more my preference is that you make decisions based on the story rather than this is the coolest bestest thing out here, you know what I mean? uh but yeah, like I don't have a problem with how this was handled at all. I thought it was great to be that self-aware
Yeah.
of how powerful your character was. The only thing that I would love to know is if the character if the other players were like had some idea, or if there was some discussion at the table of the possibility of this happening, even if like no spoilers, but just in case, so that the players aren't just like traumatized, like, why'd you kill this person? He didn't do anything. Like, you bad GM, you like, and then the GM becomes the villain and like ends up on some horror story channel. So
surprise twist, someone wrote in about them already years ago, and there have been times where we've gotten emails like within a few months of each other where we look at them and we're like, we don't know if these are the GM and player complaining about each other, but they might be. Who knows?
Oh God.
Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you, Will from Wisconsin. Hopefully you still listen, and get on you for recognizing like the mistakes you made and everything else. So awesome. Okay. I think we're set. Thank you for joining us for season 35, episode 15 of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. Please support our amazing indie designer of the month, Matt Orr from Wet Ink Games. You can find more information about them and find links to where to buy their games at wetinkgames.com. Thank you to our chat mod, James V, and to our amazing Patreons who keep us ad-free and independent. You can join their amazing ranks at happyjacks.org/Patreon. We should plug LFG. Like, where do people find information about that, Dustin?
If you type LFG CON almost anywhere it'll come up, or you might need to finish convention, and then the website is lfg-con.com.
Okay. LFG-con?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So check out that. Come join us in lovely Southern California. Hang out with us. If you haven't made it to the Strategicons, make it to LFG Con and see some of us there. It'll be great. And also some of the Horizon fellows. It's going to be very exciting. So
if it didn't conflict with GameCon Canada, I would go.
Yeah. 7 minutes from my house. Come on. All right. My name is Kimmy. You can find me at Golden Lasso Girl on basically just Blue Sky now.
It's just it.
It's just it. Like, I mean, I have a lot of other, but I don't check it very often. I spend most of my time yelling on Reddit on my Sock Puppet account. So you can also find me at goldenlassogames.com, and Happy Jacks Everything is also me. So thank you.
You can find me at bgetabletop.com or bgetabletop on most social media platforms. And come out to LA, come visit BG Tabletop, or come out to LFGCon.
LFGCon! Cool.
And I am Vixie. I've been your friendly neighborhood, guest here at the Happy Jacks Network.
No Spider-Man. No Spider-Man.
No Spider-Man. And you can find me anywhere on the worldwide interwebs, as it was once called way back in my day, under Vixie Bell or Vixie Bell Cosplay, or over at the Pocket Dragon Pub, where we do actual plays and other cool things that are TTRPG related, because I like to play games as well as talk about them. Yay!
What? Amazing. All right. Today we're going to leave with a song by a group called the Merry Wives of Windsor. The song is called The Bog Down in the Valley O. You can find that at mwow.net. I'm singing in it. If you listen real close, you can hear me singing. They're also performing right now at the Southern California Renaissance Fair. If you go there, you can see them. And the world famous Poxy Boggers, which also have a bunch of Happy Jacks people in them, singing dirty songs and playing music. So check it out, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Woo!